we actually get to play a very important role in determining or influencing how things grow. A good friend of mine from Indonesia once said to me, if you take 5 cotton balls and you sprinkle some sugar on each one, and then you put a seed or a bean on each one and pour water over each one and then put all 5 in the sun, have a bet which one is going to grow. And I'm thinking to myself, this isn't Las Vegas. It's not like, well, it could be 1, it could be 5, it could be 3, it could be... No, they're all going to grow. And he's like, exactly my point. So long as the environmental conditions are right for growth, growing is guaranteed. And the same is true in your life and mine, that we are like seeds packed full of potential, and given the right conditions, we all have the potential to grow. In order to get the right conditions, there are 4 foundational things that we need to have on board in our lives. 4 things that you can even start to engage today to fast track you on the path to mental wealth. And the first thing is called prepare. Preparation, or preparing the soil for planting seed, is an essential process in cultivation. You cannot cultivate fertile soil in your life, however, if it's full of toxic and noxious weeds. If we look at our patch of dirt that we're about to plant in, and it's full of toxic and noxious weeds, we have a responsibility to take action. And that action is defined as pulling out any weeds of bitterness by the root. What are we talking about here? We're talking about forgiveness. People who come into the psychology clinic, I would say the large majority of them are carrying or bringing into the clinic with them some kind of hurt and pain. There was a survey conducted among both men and women asking the question, what do you think is the most excruciating form of pain? And the results might actually surprise you. For example, it might surprise you to know that among women, they reported the most excruciating form of pain was not childbirth. And among men, the most excruciating form of pain was not chest waxing. The most excruciating form of pain for both men and women was this thing called heartbreak. Then when you have been hurt, hard done by, abandoned, abused, when you have been the victim of high treason, when somebody close to you has betrayed you, there is no more piercing pain. But despite the pain that we might experience, we are still at that time presented with a choice as to what do we want to do about that pain. Because we can nurse, curse, and rehearse that pain. Typically like when you stub your toe, you're like, ow, 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 ow. And then you nurse the injury, and then you curse the step, and then you rehearse it even an hour later when the pain's gone. You won't believe what happened to me, and you love to tell all your friends or post it on Facebook. Or you can learn how to let go of your hurt, pain, bitterness, and resentment, your lust for revenge. Why? Because you know the value of forgiveness. To me, when it comes to tragedy, it's like being bitten by a poisonous snake. But at the same time, it's interesting that not a single person on planet Earth has ever actually died from a poisonous snake bite. And I should know, because I come from Australia, the land of the most poisonous snakes in the world, the eastern taipan. But not a single person has ever died from the bite of an eastern taipan snake. Why? Because we don't die from the bite, we die from the poison that remains in our system. And in exactly that same way, we don't die from the tragedy or from the betrayal, but we may well die from the poison that we cultivate and hold on to on the inside. We work around the world with people who have been affected by war or natural disaster, increasingly these days, sexual exploitation and human trafficking. But whenever I ask the kids, especially the child soldiers like in Africa, hey, what's the first thing that you need to do if you get bitten by a snake? They always say to me, go kill that snake. But killing the snake doesn't help you. The snake doesn't even care what's going on. They just slithered away. They're doing their own thing now. Your primary responsibility is to get rid of the poison that is in your system. But it's sometimes so hard because unforgiveness is like a rash that we just love to scratch, and we just can't help ourselves because it just feels so good to feel bad. Does anyone know what I'm saying? You know you shouldn't, but it just like, oh yeah. And when you wish that somebody would go to hell at that same time, you send yourself there too. It's often said that unforgiveness is like drinking poison, but hoping the other person dies. Or a better analogy, I think, is that unforgiveness is like living your life like an egg and spoon race. You've seen these before, right? If you are running around with a spoon and an egg in your mouth, there's 3 immediate observations. Can you still understand what I'm saying? All right, so 3 immediate observations. 1, you look like an idiot. 2, you can't run very well in your life. And 3, you end up making a mess. And in exactly that same way, when people walk around with unforgiveness in their life, they end up doing stuff that makes them look like an idiot. And they cannot run very well in their life. They cannot take off because they are hindered by what they've got carrying, and they end up making a mess of their lives. It is our primary responsibility to deal with the hurt, the pain, or the baggage that we have in our lives. It's often said that, people can carry baggage wherever they go, and people are quite happy to do it. In fact, I love doing it. I don't know about you, but I do a lot of traveling in my line of work. And whenever I go traveling, I don't like to put my bags under the aeroplane. I like to take them on the aeroplane with me. In fact, I love to take my seat and keep my bag nestled on my lap. It's a comfort thing, safety blanket thing. And then inevitably the hostess comes along and she says, "Excuse me, sir, but you're going to have to stow your bag either under the seat in front of you or in the overhead locker." And I say to her, "Oh, that's okay. I like my bag. I'll have it right here." And she says, "No, sorry, sir, you don't seem to understand, but the plane cannot take off until you have sorted your baggage." And the same is true in your life and mine, that our lives simply cannot take off until we've dealt with our baggage. Forgiveness is incredibly powerful. If you are not growing in your mental wealth, then maybe you need to ask yourself whether or not there's a person, a circumstance, a situation where you discover or know that there's still a root of bitterness as a result of what took place. Things that you haven't dealt with yet. If there's a mess maybe in your life that needs a little spring cleaning, any baggage that needs sorting. Because there is incredible power in forgiveness. It's not until you extend the gift of forgiveness that you discover the gift is really intended for you. Check it out. From more than 1,200 published research studies in the past decade or more, weeding out the roots of bitterness through authentic forgiveness have been shown the following: to have healthier relationships, to have better performance on physical challenges, to have improved neurological and memory functioning, to have greater spiritual connectedness, to have renewed optimism and hope, to have less anxiety, depression, stress, and hostility, to have improved blood pressure and heart health, to have a longer lifespan, to have stronger immune system, to have improved perception, calculation, and judgment accuracy, to have enhanced sleep, as well as improved energy levels, to have lower incidences of stroke and things like cancer, to have higher self-esteem and greater self-worth, and overall have improved psychological well-being.